Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus is arguably the best-selling relationship book of all time, with 30 million copies in print in 100 countries and 45 languages, listed as one of the top 10 most influential books of the last quarter century. With his new book, Beyond Mars and Venus, Dr. John Gray explains why being a man or a woman in today's society is more complex than ever. As a male and female, our roles are changing in work, in parenting, and relationships, and there really aren't a lot of role models on how to make it all work. Until now, welcome, Dr. John Gray.
Well, thank you so much. That was nicely said.
Yes, we do. So many roles are changing. Tell me your experience since writing the original Mars Venus to now Beyond Mars Venus. What have you seen changed? Why did you write the new book?
Well, as soon as you said that, role models, I'm going to comment on that first,
Okay.
Which is, I feel I am a role model. I've been married 34 years to my wife. She passed last year, but we kept the passion. And so many people, as a therapist, come to me in my seminars saying, what happened to the passion? We want the passion. And we were able to keep the passion for 34 years. Now, I'm not the only person in the world that's done that, but that's the challenge today.
Yes.
And now to answer your question, as women are free to be all who they are, thank goodness, because there's so much there that has come out. Equality, women expressing what we would call traditional male energies. Men are free to express more traditional female energies. We want more love, we want more passion, we want more intimacy.
More sensitivity.
Yeah, more sensitivity. So suddenly we have men expressing male and female, women expressing male and female. And the challenge that we have today is that when we are under stress, when our body makes a hormone called cortisol, our hormones change. And men become overly sensitive and women become overly work-oriented. Okay, so if a woman, think of it, here you are, your female side is the more receptive side, and you're in danger, and nobody's there to help you, what do? You pull your sword, you become the warrior. And this is what happens to women under stress, is their biological male hormones start getting generated, which inhibits an abundance of female hormones. And likewise for men, when they play too much, like on video games or watching sports all the time, they get addicted to that. It feels good, it's pleasure. Then what happens is their male hormones become less and less, and they go out of balance. So the idea is our relationships can be a way to bring us back into balance if we understand the qualities of femininity, the qualities of masculinity. And I'm not saying that, women are not masculine, men are not feminine. It's we have both. And we have to embrace that, but realize we have a whole new challenge in marriage today, which is finding that balance.
So when women get stressed, men and women equally, the cortisol goes up when we both get stressed.
Yes.
But in order to counteract the cortisol, the women has testosterone rise and the men has estrogen rise?
Yeah, basically that would be the phenomena that occurs. That's biologically what happens. You can look at it just in terms of our experience, which I just said, which was if a woman's in danger, she has to draw her sword. If she was to say, husband, go protect me, then estrogen would go up. And that's a fact. Okay, when women feel dependent, or a man feels dependent on someone for protection, estrogen goes up. Now the key here when it comes to romance and passion is for women, romance and passion comes from estrogen. That's when she's ovulating, which she's going to have the most positive estrogen, passionate experience. Again, and studies show this. Then what happens, her estrogen levels have to double. So anytime I'm being romantic with my wife, what's happening is I'm taking care of her on a date. I plan the date. If she plans the date, it's not as romantic. Okay, it's the woman wants to feel, oh, I'm being seen, I'm being taken care of.
Yes.
And it's not like that's all the time. She's running a company, she's a businesswoman, she's a warrior.
Women don't get taken care of.
That's right. They want to just, because it seems like I need that all the time. She doesn't need it all the time, but she needs support to bring it back. So romance has become this thing which is way more important in our modern world than it used to be. Go back 100 years, romance was not even considered important. If you said, I'm in love with a mom, I'm in love with this guy, she said, oh, that romance, it won't last. Does he have a good job? Is he have good manners? Is he safe?
Yes.
Right, so.
Well, now women these days, when we run companies or we're exercising more of our strength, even exercise in and of itself, we do tend to not need to be taken care of as much. It actually is a symbol of weakness for women now, modern women.
That's the problem, is vulnerability and femininity is seen as weakness. And we all have dependence. We all have needs. It's when we're overly needy, overly dependent.
Right.
It's this balance. It's finding the balance. I need love. I need so much love. I speak in front of an audience. I want them to clap, you know.
Yeah.
Then I feel all energized, you know. I need love. Everybody needs love. And hormonally, women need more estrogen to have well-being. They don't need it all the time, by the way. It's set up in their cycle if they're still going through their cycle. In the first part of their cycle, estrogen levels rise, rise, rise. And that's when they need the most. Then they ovulate. Then they don't need men so much. You actually need more progesterone. And progesterone gets produced when you have a social life, which you enjoy.
And it balances the estrogen?
If estrogen's too high, then you're really unhappy at that time. So your whole life has to shift. Women have to wear all these different hats. They're very complicated. And one part of the month, they need to have more and more estrogen. Next part of the month, if they have too much estrogen and not enough progesterone, which they don't need in the first cycle, progesterone, they start to have something called estrogen dominance. Mm-hmm. And that's huge problems and mood and swings and everything. Danger, danger, danger. So what we want to do is know that there's times when you can depend on a man and there's times when you don't.
So when women's bodies change constantly and we have hormonal fluctuations all day, what is it when we have a problem asking for help or receiving? What is that?
Okay, historically, you have to remember most of our behaviors and our instincts are biologically instinctive. Mm-hmm. Once our parent has been a certain way, we're that way. We watch it growing up.
Right.
And quite often, women did not see their mothers asking for support, or asking for support and not getting it. You have to realize that there's two ways to ask for support. If you know how to ask for support, you learn to say, hey, would you help me with this? Would you do this for me? I'd really appreciate it. If that doesn't work because you did it at the wrong time or in the wrong way, or then what happens is then you turn it into complaining. You didn't do this, you didn't do that, whatever. And so you grow up seeing your mom complain if you did have that childhood, and you see it doesn't work. So complaining is another way, kind of a primitive way of asking for help, and it doesn't work. And it was also looked at men as critical, you know, because when a man hears complaints, quite often he feels like, oh, you're saying I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough.
Right.
So, you know, the hormones are like really, really key, because when you have, if you're a woman, her estrogen balance needs to be 10 times higher than a man's if you have well-being. And then to feel romantic, it needs to double to be 20 times higher than a man's. And that happens naturally if she's not stressed in her life. About 5 days after her period, it then now doubles. Now you have estrogen. Research shows women find men more attractive at that time. They want more romance at that time. They're more emotionally vulnerable at that time. They're feeling their need for support. Then after that, the hormones switch again, and they don't need so much support from others, and they're more about socially inclined, the community, to get support from the community and their friendship and other women, and that produces progesterone. They need to become progesterone dominant for well-being at that time. And so they have research studies showing that when you're playing cards with somebody, for example, not dependent on them, but sharing with them, your progesterone goes up, but you still have your estrogen, but progesterone has to be dominant. Then the next 15 days, estrogen has to go higher, progesterone has to disappear.
I feel so sorry for men. That has got to be so confusing.
It's very confusing for men, but not after we understand it. There's times when we need to be more romantic and more attentive. It's like, you know, if my wife would cry or say, I'm feeling very vulnerable, I didn't know you're supposed to not say anything, but listen more and give her a hug. If my wife says, I'm feeling very vulnerable, that means do not use your logic at that point to explain to her why she shouldn't feel the way she feels. It's just, you have to learn certain things.
That's what men want to do. They want to fix.
That's one of the Mars-Venus principles, is it for us, if we're under stress, and you know, you said I feel sorry for men. Also, the same thing for women, trying to figure men out. Yeah. Because while women have this estrogen, progesterone, and several other hormones in the mix, men have this testosterone hormone. Now, testosterone goes up, and we're like wonderful. And testosterone goes down every day. It goes up, and it goes down. It goes up, and it goes down. So it's like we're schizophrenic. When testosterone's up, we're interested, we're attentive, we're compassionate. All that happens when men have higher testosterone. Now, most people are thinking, oh, no, high testosterone causes aggression in men. The new research shows that men only feel aggressive or angry or mad. All that is when his testosterone goes up, and then it turns into estrogen. Its motion is estrogen. So when men get all sensitive and angry and irritable and grumpy, we have so much studies now showing that any man who's depressed, irritable, or has a heart attack, all has low testosterone. The worst part of men happens when they have low testosterone. So imagine, I mean, you're a woman, you know, a man can be so interested and so attentive, and then suddenly he's like the next day ignoring you. It's like you don't even exist. And you go, what happened? What can I trust? I don't know. It's because his testosterone goes up, he connects with you, then his estrogen goes up. Estrogen is love. So, oh, I feel so, I love you so much, I'm right with you, oh, hugging you, being with you, so great. Now his estrogen goes higher and higher, his testosterone goes down. So now I have to pull away in order to rebuild my testosterone. Independence. When you're independent on your own, you got to do it yourself, that produces testosterone.
So this is a great piece of advice for anyone who's dating, who's single, who's in the relationship world. But for couples who have been paired for a long time, it could be very, very confusing. So understanding the estrogen flow and the dominance and the testosterone and stuff. So what can you do when you find that this person isn't communicating with you or not reacting the way that you want and your cycles are completely off? What do? You've got to have communication tools.
So what do women do that doesn't work? They go to their husband, they say, what are you feeling? And they want to know what's going on inside of him because they want to connect. Yes. Connection is estrogen. When you connect with somebody, it's estrogen. We all need it. Okay, I need it. I need connection. Okay, but if I have too much connection, then I need disconnection. See, it's like everything is balance.
Yes.
And inside of every man and woman, there's this natural balance that's that person. And no person has the same balance. You know you're out of balance when you're unhappy. That's it. So you're unhappy, you're feeling disconnected from your partner, you don't understand as a woman that men are different. So what do you do to connect? You do what you would want him to do to connect, which is to ask you questions. So if I want to connect with my wife, connect with you, I just say, oh, how you feeling today? What happened today? Tell me more. I'd be interested in you because you're like here and I'm connecting by going into you. But if you don't understand men, then a man's pulling away. What women want to do is follow him and connect with him this way. Mm-hmm. That's another connection. But now he's on his female side, the receptive side, and you're on the male side. What you want to do if you want connection is not ask him questions, but ask him to ask you questions. And women just have never seen this. I mean, you never saw your Yeah, it's just like, hey, honey, when you have a chance, he's watching TV. My wife used to say that when you're done. I know you worked so hard today and you're tired, but when you're done, I need help. Boom. I kind of go, what does she want? Oh, I want to sit here and relax, but okay, I need to go help my wife. And then sometimes she'd just simply say, I just want to tell you about my day. I'll feel better because I feel more connected to you. You know, all day I'm out in the world, I'm talking to all these people, I feel separate from you. I just want you to know what I go through. And she would then say, just listen to me for like 10 minutes. I'm going to tell you what happened today. It was like a crazy day. And it doesn't have to be a crazy day, by the way. It could be a good day.
Yeah.
Just whatever's inside, share with your partner what you didn't share with other people because they're not your partner. And that's called intimacy. Intimacy is a man going inside of a woman. Now, you can have a woman going inside of a man, but that also tends to make him more feminine. Not that he can't be more feminine at times. It's not that men should never share, but the priority for balance, when you're stressed and you're overwhelmed as a woman, if you have somebody you can talk to and share what's inside, then they connect with you.
That's why women call their best girlfriends or their mothers or their sisters, and they have an entire session of talking. And then when they come home, that's all talked out. And the idea is not to make your partner your best girlfriend.
Yeah, you don't want to make your partner your best girlfriend, but I'll tell you how you do that as well, because this is for single people as well, the whole idea of becoming the friend zone. You can't have passion between a man and a woman if you're like the friend zone. The women know this. You know, he's like a good friend. He's like a brother. You know.
Yes. Yes.
He's not like he doesn't turn me on. Well, part of what romance is coming together. It's not being together, it's coming together. Now, once you have newness in a relationship, it's all this coming together, so this natural passion which is there. But once you're like, you've got each other, you're in love, we're like connected, we're together all the time, where's the coming together? So newness goes away, and this is, again, biological. Newness stimulates dopamine that increases testosterone in men. Newness stimulates estrogen for women and excitement and pleasure. So the newness goes away. Comfort comes in, that's serotonin.
Yes.
Now how do you create the passion?
Right.
What I have found, the passion comes back again and again and again, did it in my own marriage for 34 years, through differences, recognizing the differences between men and women. When she became very estrogen, then I became very masculine, then the passion came back. the differences, if you keep recognizing the differences, not everywhere, you can be the same as all the men out there while you're working, but in your relationship, you use your man to feel feminine. You use your man to feel soft. You use your man to feel tender. You use your man to hear what's going on that you would never tell anybody at work. Oh my God, I'm insecure about this, I'm afraid about this. But the problem why couples don't do this is because if a woman was to do this, men would just go, oh, you shouldn't feel that way. And that's like putting a knife in her heart. She'll close down right away.
Yes.
So men have to learn. Listen, listen, listen. And women have to learn. If he's interrupting, you say, oh, no, don't say anything. Don't say anything. He'll go, what? I said, no, I just need to share what's inside, and then I'll feel better. That's what we've learned after 50 years of doing therapy. Wow. 90% of the people who come to therapy are women, because as a therapist, you learn to
talk.
They need to talk, and you listen, and you don't fix everything. In the beginning, as a therapist, I used to give advice all the time, and nobody came back. Then I started learning, don't give any advice, just ask questions. And they kept coming back. I feel so good, you know.
There's so much information in the Beyond Mars Venus book, and I want to just mention that we are in our fund drive here at Free Speech TV. And if you would like to learn a lot more about how relationships work in today's day and age, you can get John Gray's book here, Beyond Mars and Venus. Relationships are constantly changing, and in order to keep a healthy relationship, it starts with communication, like John is talking about here, but a specific type of communication. Men want to we women want men to listen, and men need to learn to listen in a specific way so that we can then feel safe with men.
And we want to feel successful as men, and we don't know what to do, and we don't know that we still need to do it. Often a man will say, I love you, honey, and I'll give you a compliment. After a few years, why should I do that again? You should know. No, men don't know this stuff. We have to be educated to realize it's the little things that stimulate estrogen. Here's an interesting concept, which is I can give you 100 roses, and you're going to go, oh, this is so wonderful, so beautiful. The house is great. He loves me so much. It's a symbol of love. So you feel all resonant with that. And all those roses die in a week. It's gone. And men don't know that. They think, okay, I gave her the roses. It's good for a year. You know, it's our anniversary. I don't have to do anything more. Now, it's nice to do the big presents, but it doesn't keep stimulating the estrogen. You can give her one rose, and it will stimulate the same amount of estrogen as 100 roses.
Good tip.
So it's the little things that make the big difference, and men don't know that. So what would little things look like? It'd be holding her hand occasionally. We'd be walking. I'd just put my hand on her shoulder, then take it back. It's just 6 seconds, 8 seconds. They've shown that the hormone oxytocin will increase. Then her estrogen levels will go higher. It's like amazing.
And it makes us feel supported. And that's a huge thing for women.
Supported and safe.
Yes.
See, safe is a really key thing. What have men done for women throughout history? Why do women love men?
Protected them.
Because we're protectors. And now women don't need that kind of worldly protection.
Right.
What they need is emotional protection. And why do women need this emotional protection? Because they're way on their male side. To come back to the female side, not the only way, one of the most powerful ways to come back to the female side is to share what emotions you don't feel safe to share during the day. So instead of just saying, oh, there was so much traffic on the freeway, you'd say, oh, I was coming home today and there was so much traffic on the freeway. It was so frustrating. I keep trying to do this. The frustration is crazy. I'm disappointed because I wanted to get to this and I wanted to get to this. But connect more with the emotion. When you connect with emotion, men will connect with you more. That's what women need. That deeper level of connection allows their hormones to come back in balance. And you don't need it all the time. It's particularly around those 5 days. And if you don't have all this knowledge to say, okay, I'm just going to my female side, we're going to do this romantic thing tonight, then I give yourself permission to feel vulnerable, to feel I depend on him, to feel I need support. I can't do it alone, because none of us can do it alone. This is an illusion that happiness comes from being an island all on your own. You know, and men are proud to be, look what I can do all myself, but then they want sex. Okay, what does sex do? He goes over to his estrogen side. He connects with a woman. It's the biological drive to connect with women when testosterone gets to a certain point.
And then it turns into estrogen.
Then he wants to find his balance. See, he's out of balance. So now, look what I can do. Well, what's good is doing all this if I don't have somebody who will love me, someone I can take care of. I want to give.
Balance.
And this is, a younger man doesn't always understand this because he's still trying to get to that place where, look what I can do. But when you have high self-esteem and you're a man and I've accomplished, look what I can do, then you want to share that with somebody else. You want to do for someone special, someone who loves you more than anybody else, and you love her more than anybody else. That's what romantic love is. I mean, if you look at this sort of statistically, let's say I have $1 million and I want to help. Okay, you always want to help. So I give $1 to everybody. How much help did I really produce, as opposed to having one person and I give all the $1 million to her? My gosh, what a response I get. It's called a big O.
Yes, I see. Well, you can also get John's book. I wanted to mention here, it's a $100 pledge to the station, to Free Speech TV, and if you go there right now or you call 877-378-8669, you will ask for the Beyond Mars Venus book with John Gray, Dr. John Gray, and you can get the book right there and donate to Free Speech TV, because we really, really do appreciate your donations. Also, to support this wonderful environment of having these types of conversations on free speech, to have constant communication, and we learn more about communication every day, and that really is what our world should be built on, is communication. A sustainable world is built by people who connect with each other, and we learn how to have better relationships with each other. And these tips in the Beyond Mars Venus book, by the way, can be for your brothers and sisters, your parents, it could be friends, it could be couples, if you're dating or if you've been married for a long time. It's same-sex conversations as well. It goes across the board because it's all basic relationship information that could change the quality of your life, truly. So give us a call, 877-378-8669, or go to freespeech.org. You just enter $100 into the donation page on freespeech.org right there, and you will be able to see that the John Gray book is available for you, the Beyond Mars Venus book. All right, so questions now. When you add stress to this whole conversation, the cortisol goes up, all of these communication skills go out the window. Maybe you've had a relationship that's gone sour, or you're in a long-term relationship and you don't feel that it's long gone, like you feel that all hope is lost. Is there a point of no return, John, or is there a way to save a relationship after it's really gone south?
I really want to answer that question, but another question comes up, then we'll get to that one, which is same-sex relationships. Okay. Whenever I talk about gender differences, same-sex people feel left out. And I just want to be inclusive here, which is to recognize whether you're same-sex relationship or a heterosexual relationship, we all have a male and female side inside of us. And when we're stressed, our hormones this stress is a biological reaction. Life can be all stressful, but you could be all happy and wonderful and, okay, there's a new challenge. What am I going to do? What opportunity do I have? It's all inside of us, how our brain is functioning at that time, which is based upon hormone reactions. And attitude certainly affects hormone reactions, which is why we want to learn this stuff, to have the right attitude, and that works to lower stress. And if you're same sex or heterosexual sex, any person has got a male and female side. And when they're unhappy, their thinking is off for sure, okay, because there's no reason to be so unhappy. I mean, there's times we're going to go through the waves of unhappiness and anger and frustration, but the key is that we just knocked off balance. Now we have to come back into balance. Going off balance is natural as well. If a strong wind blows, you get knocked off balance. You know, for my wife, it was devastating. In 9 months, she went from this vibrant, healthy person with ovarian cancer, and I watched her disappear. It was horrible. It was epic. It was terrible. You know, there's no part of me that was, after she left, I was living in hope the whole time. We thought it was going to get better, and it got worse and worse and worse. And when she passed, oh my God, I was knocked. I'm a happy, confident, healthy person. And boy, every day I would wail and I would cry. And what's interesting about it, I was never like, well, there were a few days where I wanted to kill myself, for sure. I mean, the depression would come, but it would come, you know, I would go on waves. And that's a natural grieving process, is to go on the waves. Finding my way back to balance. And a big part of finding my way back to balance is every time I come back into balance, I was happy. But how can I be happy if I've just lost the love of my life? I mean, I felt guilty, you know, so I had to realize, no, the loss is helping me be a better person. I reviewed every mistake I'd ever made, and I've vowed and committed to grow from that. I'm a much more loving person because of her.
Of Bonnie,
you know, so this is like the recognition that I was out of balance. For me, I needed to look at my female side, was all the emotions that would come up. Then I'd have to go over to my male side, which is go do my work and feel good and feel okay feeling good, then go back to my female side. And then I'd have to take time to reflect on my mistakes. That's called your male side. When when accountability is the part of every man and woman that is like, okay, what did I do? How can I make it better? How can I solve the problem? If I can't solve that problem, I can solve it next time. So this is all a dance that we have to do as human beings today, and we don't have a culture that supports that dance. So we have to learn these new things. This is why we have to go beyond the stereotypical roles of men and women, but learn how to deal with this new person inside who wants to self-actualize, who wants to be genius, express all of our potential. That happens when your stress levels go down. So I had to interrupt your question. What was your question?
The question was about what happens when stress levels go up. And the question was, how do you bring a relationship back that you feel is so far gone?
So important. Okay, so when stress levels go up, here's another little piece of wisdom that I'm going to do real short. Brain science. Front part of the brain is the part of us which can like go, oh, I made a mistake. How can I change it? Front part of the brain, it says it's the leader. It's the executive part of our brain. It's the only part of our brain that doesn't have monkey genes. Okay, this is the only part. The rest of the brain has monkey genes or lizard genes.
So this is the last part of the brain to develop?
This is the last part of the brain to develop. And scientists say basically it doesn't fully develop till you're 28. That's when you gain this self-reflective ability completely to change the programming inside of you. You can, through role models, change the programming inside of you, but we're all programmed at birth. There's a program, automatic reactions. Oh, I like this, I like that. Or I react angry. Why did I get angry? Well, because this person did that. Actually, you could be a different reaction. But we're conditioned to react certain ways. When we have this part of the brain fully functioning, then we can reflect, does that really work? I mean, I'm hurting the person I love. Would that be a smart thing to do? Why would I do that?
That's where growth happens.
That's where growth happens. So having taken that understanding, conditioning all these reactions, instincts are much deeper reactions, then you've got reflection. Now, this is where we can change our behavior. This is where you can remember anything I've said today and change your life, or other people say as well. But when you're experiencing hormonal imbalance and cortisol levels, you're threatened in life, cortisol levels go up, throws your hormones out of balance, blood flow stops to this part of the brain. You are basically at that time an animal.
Into your monkey brain.
You're in the monkey brain. Everything is conditioned. Basically, we will do as we were trained to do. We cannot self-reflect, and often we cannot remember how to behave until we've repeated that pattern several times. We've created the neural connectors in the brain so that, when my wife would give me advice, which we used to really annoy me, I learned, oh, she's just trying to get what she needs. She's looking at me that way because she's a little upset with me. I love her. I don't need to get upset with her. I can say, honey, I hear you. I'll try to do it differently next time. Such a simple thing to say.
Yes.
But, she used to look at me like this, and I'm supposed to say, I'm sorry, but I didn't feel sorry because I'm talking about little things. I'm 10 minutes late or something. And I'm not really sorry, So, and if I say it and I don't really feel it, she's going to go,
it's even worse.
It's even worse,
Yes.
Exactly. So that I learned, these are like 100 tips in this book that just saved my marriage. And this is just simply say, honey, I hear you. I'll try to remember next time. Just to do that. That's what works, and you don't have to do these other reactions that you go, but that's how I feel. Well, yeah, that's how your monkey brain feels. You can feel it. You can listen to it, and then go, now, sharing that with somebody, does that actually work? No, it doesn't work.
So if you feel a relationship is really in a very desperate place, in a lack of communication, you need to put your ego aside, and you need to go into the evolved, actualized part of the brain and make decisions that will save the relationship, if that's what you want.
If that's what you want.
To really go in and maybe let go of your ego, or come from a higher place, or look at things from a different perspective, and that's where the prefrontal cortex comes in.
And you answered the question you just asked me, so I'm going to add a little bit more to it.
You answered it. I said what you said.
You did it. Okay, but the question is, what do you do when you're in this marriage? You feel like, oh, it's not working. I feel like I'm enslaved in jail and whatever. What do I do? That's when you have to realize what you said is ego. I would say it's your conditioned responses, but we can call that ego if you want. And the conditioned responses, this you need to process. And so this is so beautiful information, but once I get to how to process it, let me first say the outcome of it. You need intention to motivate you to do that which is difficult. It's difficult to open your heart once it's closed. It's difficult. It's not you have to use willpower to do it. You have to have motivation to do it. Why would I be motivated to love you more when you just hurt me and I'm shutting down to you? I'm not motivated to do it for you.
Right.
So you got to find the motivation. What is the motivation?
To save a marriage, to stay together?
No, I don't want to stay together with you. You just hurt me. You complain too much. Whatever my mind is saying, how dare you do that? People get all in their ego. I can't believe I do this for him. And he just treats me like this. I'm not going to open my heart to him. Okay, so that's the dark side. So when I'm in that space, and I was in it many times, what did I do? I said, this is me. This is my stuff. This is not loving. I need to get back to who I am, but I need some extra motivation. And my extra motivation that I used was I have children.
Yes.
And I love them. They haven't hurt me at all. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure those children grow up seeing a happy mother and father, because I know a child will benefit so much more to have a happy mother and father. So that's my motivation. So then but I have to have the knowledge how to come back into balance. For me as a man, I've shut down. I'm back here. So what I have to do, that means low testosterone. So what I have to do is just go out and do something that raises my testosterone. Productive, solve problems. And I do something that solves problems, not having to do with you. Have to do, go to my work, I go play music, I go drive my car, I go play tennis, I go read a book, anything I'm good at. Whenever a man does something he's good at, or a woman, testosterone goes up. Now his cortisol goes down. Then when you're feeling good, then look at what happened and see you're part of it. And then come back and give more love. Your testosterone goes up, then your heart will open again. Now for women, what they have to do is just the opposite. So when they're stressed out, they have to realize they've been fighting, they're arguing, they're feeling, I'm not getting back what I deserve. That's their male side, wanting justice and protection, all that. So she has to come back to her female side, which means to be completely authentic and open to share intimately what she's feeling emotionally with somebody that can hear her. Her husband's not going to be able to hear her at that time. A friend, a therapist, a coach, a prayer to God, whatever it might be, where she can pour out her feelings to increase the estrogen. Then her stress levels go down, her brain can now function and remember all the good things he did for her and how much she loves him.
This is a great piece of advice. So if you're really having a struggle in a relationship, go to your separate corners. Men go to the man cave, women talk to your friends and talk it out. And then when you both get to a place of feeling loving again, come back with the armor down and both come back from a place of love. And that's a great piece of advice, to go to your separate corners.
Yes, just go to your corners. And I've been doing this 40 years. It's hard for people to take that time out. Now, I teach this to men, and men will say to me, but John, I tried doing this, and she follows me. She keeps asking me questions. I get sucked in. So I don't want to put it all on women, because some men will follow the woman. But it's that need for connection. We have to have in our lives separate corners where we can get the connection we need. And also to know intellectually, that's how you find your balance. Because if we don't have this hormonal insight, then we think he should be able to do that. She should be able to do that for me.
Because men solve by not talking, women solve by talking. So naturally, this is a problem.
That's right. That's right.
So if we go to our separate corners and do this, so this is the type of relationship information that you're going to see in this book, Beyond Mars, Venus. And give us a call right now, 877-378-8669, and ask for the Beyond Mars, Venus book by Dr. John Gray. And you can also go to freespeech.org, and if you just enter in a $100 donation there, and then you just click on the area that allows you to see all of the donations at that range, you'll see Dr. John Gray's book right there. And I also wanted to just give you a chance to give us a call, 877-378-8669. I know this is great and this is super fun and amazing information, but you also need to call in order to support the station. That's how we keep the station going. That's how we allow these great voices to come out and to be heard, is by supporting what you basically put into free speech you get out. So we really do appreciate your donations. I'm very, very grateful for them personally, so thank you so much. 877-378-8669, and I want you to take a look here at this great video that John Gray is talking about with our modern relationships. Take a look at this great video on modern relationships. Take a look.
I talk to audiences all the time, and sometimes I'll ask my audience, how many of you have been divorced? And over half the people raise their hands. And then I say to my audience, how many of you, when you grow up, your parents were divorced? And much less number. Now that's starting to change more in the next generation. But most of the people, they don't raise their hands. So their parents stayed together, they divorced. Then I say, how many of you who are divorced have better communication skills than your parents who stayed together? And they all raise their hand. Of course, today we feel we have better communication skills than our parents. So if communication skills are everything to make a relationship work, why are we having so much challenge? Why? Because the communication skills our parents had worked in a role mate relationship, but they don't work today in a soulmate relationship where you have a conscious woman and a conscious man. The conscious man is free from the limitations of being a role mate. He says, I want to be all of who I am. And the conscious woman says, I want to be all of who I am. So you've got, instead of being in the bedroom, you've got 1 or 2 people. You've got 4 people. You've got him, his male side, his female side. You've got her male side, her female side, all 4. And that's who you're living with. And we need to learn to create peace in all of these. For our parents, basically what happened is my dad, my mom, didn't always happen this way, but because my dad had, a good job, so my parents were never in a survival security place. My dad went to his job, he worked hard, so he made enough money so my mother could do what she wanted to do. Her dream was to have children. She had 7 children. When they all grew up, she then had her own part-time job and raised her children, continued being a mother. She was a very happy lady. Very traditional, very happy. My dad was very happy. He had his job. He came home. My mother didn't expect anything more from him. All he needed was good manners and not to get angry with her. Those are the things. My dad didn't get angry with her, and my dad had good manners. My dad had a job. My God, what more could you want from a man is what the women used to think. But once a woman is no longer limited just to her female side. She's liberated. This started happening in the 60s as women started saying, hey, I've got a male side. I want to be more independent. I'm more detached. I'm not so emotional. I'm a big problem solver. I'm competent. I'm capable. I'm tough. I work out. I exercise every day. I got muscles. All that is women going over to their male side. Fine. It feels good to go over the male side, particularly if your female side has been suppressed. It feels liberating. Okay, so you go over to your male side, you got to come back to your female side. The most powerful way to come back to your female side to feel balance. And when you find that balance, your stress levels go down. When you're out of balance, your stress levels go up. It's really simple. You got a male and female side. When you're too far in your male, you will be overwhelmed. You will feel resentful. You will feel exhausted. You will feel stressed. You will feel depression. All those things are as you stay too far on your male side, because you're not connecting with another part of you. Because when you suppress who you are, there will be stress. So when women go too far to their male side, they're suppressing their female side. Now, all suppression causes stress. But at least in my mother's life, she was suppressing her male side. It didn't cause that much stress because she's a woman. But when women suppress their female side and express their male side, they're suppressing their female hormones that regulate her stress. Now, certainly if my mother was with a husband who was angry and had no manners and was selfish, was a drug addict, and didn't make any money, certainly that would cause a lot of stress because she wasn't getting what she needed. But once again, she wasn't getting what she needed so she could be on her female side. Okay, to be with a guy like that, you have to suppress your female side. So the greatest source of stress for women is when they suppress their female side. The greatest source of stress for men is when they suppress their male side. And that happens more and more when men can go to their female side and women can go to their male side. We're more stressed than ever before. So what's the answer? Is helping women, you have the power, is you come back to your female power by doing one of the things that's more feminine than anything else you can do. And that is sharing. That is basically emotionally undressing. That's opening yourself up. That's letting a man hear and see with respect. He has to listen with respect, with empathy, with compassion, with understanding. When you can unfold the layers of who you are in the presence of a man, that's what intimacy is about.
So that is a great piece of advice from Dr. John Gray. That's what intimacy is all about. And you can find out more tips like that in John's book, Beyond Mars, Venus. And it really speaks to how we communicate in relationships and how we can improve our communication in relationships. An incredible, incredible book. You can pick it up here by supporting Free Speech TV by calling 877-378-8669 or go to freespeech.org. So can we talk about when we have heated discussions in a relationship, or when men get mad and women get afraid? What happens when anger occurs?
Yeah, or women get angry, whichever. Anger is a very all human beings have feelings of sadness and anger. It's the conditioned brain. It's automatic. It's part of it. Gives us a passion and aliveness, creates desire, all these things. So that's natural and normal. But we have to learn to manage it.
Yes.
Now, everybody knows in the workplace, if you get angry, you don't just blurt it out and say whatever you want. But often we come home, we think we can because we have the freedom, we feel loved, we feel safe. And the problem with this is that when men feel angry, then they start arguing with a tone of voice of anger. Even just a tone of voice with
Yelling,
anger.
yes.
And deep yelling or just tone of voice. I mean, my wife used to say to me, well, you know, what she said, you're being mean. And I go, no, I'm just focused, you know. She said, no. But she was very clear about, she would say to me, okay, you're not talking from your heart. She just walked out of the room.
That's
I don't want
good.
to talk to you. Yeah, set your boundary, women.
great.
Women have to know when a man is angry, you should not ask him more questions. See, because if my wife is angry, all I have to do is say, well, tell me more. Well, help me understand that better. What else?
Oh, the woman tends to be quiet around anger. We tend to not say anything. We were taught not to say anything.
Everything's the opposite. That's why relationships aren't working. And men just feel free to express themselves. And some women express their anger. But when you do express your anger, what happens is men get angry, and now you get this exploding thing.
Yes.
So what to do? All I can do is give you an example that people remember. So after 23 years of marriage, my wife said to me, I asked her, how good a husband am I? And she said, well, you're not like a perfect husband.
And you talk about relationships.
Yeah, right. And I had to learn not to be defensive about that, which I wasn't. She said, but as a father, you were completely a great father, A+. But as a husband, not perfect. And then I said, okay, I understand that. Tell me more. And she says, well,
that was evolved of you.
Yeah, well, you have to learn. My happiness is
more.
I don't have to be perfect. That's what men have to get. You don't have to be perfect to be loved. We get so defensive about this. So then she said, you know, John, we've been married 23 years, and what I know to be true, absolutely know to be true, is I can say things and do things that really upset you. And when you get upset, you stop talking, you go to your cave, and I don't know what magic you do, but you always come back with more love. So I know there's nothing I can do to ever push you out of my life.
Aw, well,
That's
that's
so sweet. I mean,
beautiful.
this is the deepest fear that women have, and it is the fear of abandonment, to be alone. You give your heart to someone, and then they leave you. It's painful. So, and her saying that to me gave me more permission to take my time away, and that happened after about 6 years in the marriage. One time we were just arguing, and I wasn't as elegant then, and I just said, I'm done with this, and just walked away. And when I walked away, I did my magic. I do my balancing hormone thing. For me, also meditation is a way to rebuild your testosterone for men. And so then I came back, I felt my heart. Well, first of all, I looked at how I made a mistake. Why did that happen? Then I came back and just more love. And I always come back with more love. That's my commitment. I mean, We're here to be loving people. And she saw that, and the first time I did it, she said, I want to thank you for not letting that argument go out of escalate. And you took your time, and you came back, and I really appreciate that. That gave me as a man permission to walk away, to come back. We men don't have that permission because we want women to love us, and women don't understand that we need that. When he pulls away, she wants to ask more questions, she wants to connect, only because she doesn't know what he needs is different from what she needs, because she needs someone to ask her questions, to connect with her, to empathize with her. But once a man loses his connection to the prefrontal cortex, he can't open his heart and connect. He's basically reactive. He's in a defensive mode. He's got to come back to testosterone. He can't let his estrogen come up at that point in order to feel empathy.
It won't happen because he's in the testosterone
He's in his
dominance.
defensive
Yes.
mode.
So
He actually has to rebuild his testosterone.
by doing, just to mention that again, the few things that you do, meditation to rebuild testosterone, which allows you solve problems. It allows you to rebuild your executive function, right?
Exactly. When
Social
cortisol
skill.
goes down, then blood flow goes back to the human part of our brain. So what brings, for me, back to low cortisol is anything that I'm good at.
Okay.
When a man does something he's good at, that he feels it's his mission, it's productivity. To me, I've been teaching meditation for 50 years.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm an expert at that. I'm good at that, and I feel that I'm bringing more love into the world by coming back to my heart. Think about what meditation is for many people, as it's taught, is you empty your mind. emptiness. It's not talking, it's quiet, it's silence.
That's nice.
And it was primarily taught to men because it rebuilds testosterone. What was taught primarily to women back in the days when meditation was very popular, it was mainly taught to men, not to women. Women were there to talk, to share, to have family, to love God, to, nurturing skills opens a woman's heart. And then once she has more feminine, then she can do the male thing. And once men have more masculine, then they can do the female thing, which is romantic making love. People don't realize how powerful sex is in marriage because you're actually making love. It really is making love. Sex for people who don't love each other is just a waste of energy. It's pleasure. Too much pleasure without love is meaningless. But when you take the time to be intimate, to share, to connect, and you understand foreplay, for example, for men, they don't understand the importance of that her love for him at that time, because he's giving her what she needs to relax, to come back to her body. Because when you touch a woman's body, it produces oxytocin in a loving way. That then lowers her testosterone, increases her estrogen. And now people go, oh, well, you don't want to lower her testosterone because testosterone is a sex drive. Yes, you do. You want to allow her to completely relax. Her estrogen goes up. Then when estrogen goes high enough, then her testosterone comes up to balance it. Then she wants it as much as him. This is like plumbing, we got to understand the basic
It's the way
plumbing.
that we were built.
It's the way we're built. It's a
we could
design.
just understand it, which helps so much to understand. I actually want you to take a look here at this video where John Gray is talking about this very relationship, communication with men and women. Take a look.
I wrote Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus 25 years ago. I've been teaching the ideas for over 35 years. And the number one question I get now as I'm doing interviews and talking about that book is, how have relationships changed? Do those ideas still apply? And ironically, all those ideas still apply in that understanding men and women are different and we need new communication skills. However, the challenges couples face today is not just about communication, it's about managing stress within their own bodies. It's managing their own levels of happiness, because what's happened is the terrain of relationships has changed. And this is different from 25 years ago. So I've written a new book, which is called Beyond Mars and Venus. And basically, in Beyond Mars and Venus, we're looking at the new challenges, the new problems, and the solutions so that we can experience a higher level of love. I call that soulmate love. And what is a soulmate love? A soulmate relationship is a relationship where you have the emotional support, the freedom to authentically express all of who you are. That's what people want today. In the more traditional relationship, men had the freedom to express their masculinity, women had the freedom to express their feminine qualities, but we were restricted. And today, we want more. We want full expression of who we are. And that creates new challenges. Equality between men and women has never happened in the past. And you suddenly have an equal relationship. This is all new challenges. This is women wanting to be on their masculine side. We'll simply call that independence. In the seminar, in the book, we talk about the 12 qualities of masculinity. We talk about the 12 qualities of femininity. And we talk about the importance of balancing those according to our own unique self. Every man and woman has a unique balance of masculine and feminine qualities. And to the extent that you have to suppress either your female side or your male side, if you have to suppress a part of who you authentically are, your own internal stress levels will increase. Your ability to feel love and happiness and fulfillment in your life and in your relationships will be diminished. And that's why in traditional relationships, passion would go away. People would become comfortable. They would become at ease. But the aliveness, the passion, the vitality, the sexual attraction, that was all gone because people had to suppress parts of who they are. Today, people want to express all of who they are, and when they can't, they feel even greater dissatisfaction. So the dissatisfaction level in marriage today has gone way up. It's gone up in singles because we want more. What we want is the full expression of who we are, but we don't yet know how to coexist in a relationship where a woman can be both her masculine side and her feminine side, and a man can be both his feminine side and his masculine side. It creates all new challenges. And we realize that when you're expressing a female quality, it actually stimulates female hormones in your body. And when you're expressing a masculine quality, it stimulates masculine hormones. So much of this book is understanding the biology of men and women.
Great. Now, if you would like to learn more about this, please call us here, 877-378-8669. We are in our fund drive here at Free Speech TV, so please give us a call. The book is a $100 donation to the station, and we thank you so much for your contribution. Again, it's called Beyond Mars Venus. Relationships are constantly changing. In order to keep a healthy relationship, it starts with communication, so take a look at that there. Now, we always do this segment here on the show called the New News, or the Aware News, where we combine the brilliance of the communication that our guests bring us with current relevant topics of today. Now, I read a statistic that the American Psychological Association says that the national divorce rate is 50% and higher for second and third marriages. Now, this is a huge thing, and one of the contributing factors to this is that 20% of marriages are sexless marriages. So how do we confront this problem? And I would say that it would be probably more, because a lot of people don't want to admit that they're in a sexless marriage.
Right. Or they're having sex once a month or once every 2 months.
Well, first of all, what is a sexless marriage considered?
Sexless marriage is no sex at all.
No sex
and
at
then you have marriages where you have 12 times you have sex a year. And a healthy, there's so much about what is a healthy sex life.
Right.
If you're having sex desire for your partner, that's a healthy sex life.
Oh, that's
okay,
a great
so
way of saying
it's just
it.
You're feeling it, and for men, you're feeling it, then it happens.
That's healthy.
Okay, and you're not having to look elsewhere to be stimulated. That's not healthy.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's so much better than saying once a month, once a week, twice a week. I mean, these numbers don't make sense. What you just said makes so much sense.
Now, having said that, we can look at the biology and the studies of sex drive in men. Okay, so testosterone levels have to reach a certain point to where a man really wants to have sex. Then it's going to be passionate. His desire actually helps awaken estrogen in her. As his testosterone goes up, her estrogen goes up, because that's the female side goes up as he goes more to his male polarity. Now you've got that polarity of masculine and feminine. Once the masculine is up, now he can approach her in a way that makes her feel happy and fulfilled and respected. He approaches her in loved and respectful way, which means what does she need, not what he wants. He's a race car. He just wants to do it. He has to honor her needs. So now his testosterone's up, his estrogen's starting to rise, also giving permission for her estrogen to rise. They're now going to come into sync. Having said that, that's the importance of romance and good foreplay and patience, but also being in touch with your desire. Desire is everything. Now, if a man has sex on Saturday night, they measured with his wife, his testosterone levels will go back down to what they generally are, and they will slowly ascend till Saturday, 7 days. On the 7th day, his testosterone levels double. Which nature puts it in men. If you have not had sex, your design is to go make babies. So naturally, his testosterone levels will come up. The problem with this, they don't come up if he has online sex. If he has online sex during the week, then they don't come up on Saturday, and he doesn't have the juice to connect with his wife again, because it's always going to be harder to connect with his wife than the unknown woman. Why is that? Because your wife, you love her. Love produces estrogen, and estrogen is constantly lowering testosterone unless he has strong testosterone. Then he has a balance of the male and the female energies.
So what about stress? Does stress also do the same thing?
Now, what stress does is inhibit the whole process.
It does, okay.
Okay, we're talking about just stress-free young person. They measured men with this, which is their 7-day cycle. For women, it's not as much research on it, but we do know that when women ovulate, that's when they can enjoy sex the most, as reported by women. But women, unlike animals, can enjoy it at many, many other times as well, given the proper stimulation. And men just don't understand the stimulation, and women often feel guilty because they don't enjoy sex, they don't feel they wanted sex, and she's not even in the mood for sex, and he's wanting it, she feels guilty about it, what to do, and then the man senses that, so he's not going to approach her, so then the sex just disappears because she doesn't get the kind of affection, the oxytocin necessary to raise her hormones so where she can really enjoy it, so which means it's good even if you're not in the mood for sex to lie together in bed and touch each other, and for him to give her massages, use some nice oils, help. He should learn the art of giving a woman arousal through touch. Even when she's not in the mood, she will get in the mood,
just
at least
through
once
intimacy.
a week.
So do you think that the 50% divorce rate would have sexless marriages would be a contributing factor to that, or do you think it's more about communication? What, in your opinion?
Well, everything is about communication, and sex is about communication.
Okay, so it's the same thing.
There's inside the bedroom and there's outside the bedroom. It's connecting. How are we connecting? If you're not connecting outside the bedroom, it's hard to connect inside the bedroom. If you're not connecting inside the bedroom, men lose their motivation to connect outside the bedroom. So it's like women need the motivation outside the bedroom, men need the motivation inside the bedroom, and then the motivation is there for us to work through our issues to find the love again and again. And we can only do that if we also have the skills to find the love again and again, which is what we've been talking about
in the book, of course.
And the idea here is the motivation. And what's different between relationships today and past relationships, people were not motivated to create passion in relationships. They stayed together because of an economic thing. And society puts you together for the children and the family and so forth.
Yes, exactly. There's so much to learn here, and we are unfortunately out of time. So I want to encourage you to continue your learning here and pick up John Gray's book, Beyond Mars Venus. It's about the constantly changing thing that we're in called a relationship. In order to keep a healthy relationship, it starts with communication. So pick that book up, Beyond Mars Venus. It talks about how to talk to each other so we can actually hear each other and feel heard. So check that out. Go to freespeech.org, or you can call 877-378-8669. Thank you so much, John. You're just a blessing and a gift to the world through your wonderful way of communication and in such a loving way. It really is.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for watching. And for more inspirational programming, you can check out my website at theawareshow.com, or you can reach out to me on Facebook at Lisa Garr Host. I am Lisa Garr, and until next time, I invite you to stay aware.